Hi everyone, this is Yana Smakula and thank you so much for stopping by today. I have a simple sympathy card to share in this video using watercolors and heat embossing. I'll show you how you can use embossing powder to intensify the colors on your watercolored images. I'm going to be using Arches cold pressed watercolor paper. This is my go-to watercolor paper these days, and I'm going to stamp a beautiful floral image from the Botanical Garden stamp set from Alt New onto this paper. I'm using Hero Art's Intense Black ink for stamping, as this is a waterproof ink and it will ensure that the image outline won't bleed once I start coloring it. I'm going to be using my Kuretake Gansai Tambi watercolors today, and I'll use just 3 colors: red, yellow, and brown. I finally swatched this set onto the back side of my cover, and now I can easily tell what the color is going to look like, and I don't have to guess anymore. I should have done that a long time ago, but I'm always too lazy or too busy to do that. But I'm happy I swatched these colors. Be sure to do the same if you have watercolors and putting off using them for your projects. So I'm using a water brush and picking up the pigment and adding it onto the plastic palette to be able to dilute it and also to be able to mix it with another color. First, I'm using red and coloring the stem and the leaves of this image. I decided to step away from the traditional green and went with red here. I'll be using yellow and brown for the petals, and I'll also add a bit of gold and brass, and I feel this makes a great color combo. At least this is something new for me. I haven't used this color combination in a while. I'm not being very careful about my watercoloring here, and I'm not doing anything special. I just added a first layer of somewhat lighter red, and now coming in and adding highlights, intensifying that red on the stem and on the base of the leaves. For the petals, I'm starting with yellow and first adding a little bit of yellow to the tips of the petals. Those will be lighter on my project, and then I'm adding in a bit of brown and mixing yellow with brown, creating a more intense yellow color, or almost orange I guess you'd say, and coloring the base of my petals, adding shadows to my flower. I used my heat tool to dry this image and now using scissors to cut it out. Now there are matching dies available for this one, but I don't have them yet, so I'm using good old scissors and just fussy cutting this flower out. It is a little bit difficult to do this as I stamped it on Arches paper, and Arches paper is rather heavyweight, but it's not impossible. Once the image was dry and once it was cut out, I felt like it wasn't vibrant enough, like the colors weren't vibrant enough on the image. I love bright colors, and this just wasn't as bright as I had hoped it would be, so I used clear embossing powder to make it brighter. Here I'm using embossing ink in a bottle and covering the entire die cut using this ink. You can also use Versamark ink pad or ink pen or any other embossing ink pad or pen for that matter, but I prefer to use this bottle, ink in a bottle with a sponge applicator when I need to cover a large section fast. So once I covered the image with ink, I'm going to add clear embossing powder on top and will heat set it with my heat tool. As the powder melts, you can see the change in color you get on your image. The colors begin to appear brighter and more vibrant. Here's a close-up of the heat embossed flower. I really love that extra glossy shine and the intensity of the colors here. I did only 1 layer of embossing powder, but you can choose to do 2 layers or even more if you prefer. You can also add shimmer using Wink of Stella glitter pen or a similar pen before you emboss it if you want to have a bit of glittery shimmer on your flower. I've also heat embossed the sentiment to use in my card. I selected "We are here for you." I'm making a sympathy card for a friend of our family, so I needed to use "We are here for you" instead of "I am here for you" sentiment, and I'm happy I was able to find it in the Thinking of You stamp set from Alt New. I used brass embossing powder to heat set it. I'm going to use wood grain cardstock for my card base. I've already trimmed and scored it into an A2 top folding card base. I'm going to add one of the gorgeous Alt New vintage trims on top. I'm using foam adhesive to adhere it and also to add a little bit of dimension to this project. And I'm going to foam mount the sentiment and will also add a few tiny gold sequins from Pretty Pink Posh to finish this project. So here's another look at this simple sympathy card. You can actually make it work for any occasion you want by using a different sentiment. It should work just fine as a thank you or thinking of you or even a happy birthday card. The layer of embossing powder over the watercolor image really helped the colors to pop here, and I think it's a fun and easy technique for those who love bold and vibrant colors. This video is a part of a second anniversary blog cut from Alt New. Be sure to go to my blog or Alt New blog to learn more and participate in a giveaway. There's lots more inspiration from Alt New designers and guests. Be sure to check that out as well. I'll have a link to my blog post in the video description. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye!